Hey, welcome back to Matter of Fact. Getting ready to get into week one finally. How you feeling about football season finally starting up, Austin?
Just happy it's back. We finally made it back another year. So I'm excited.
Yeah, college football is always like a little teaser because I know you watch a couple of the preseason games, but it's really that and football is really about to be back vibes for about a week or two, and then boom, we're here.
Yeah.
Season openers always gas. We got Chiefs, Ravens, conference championship rematch. So we're going to go through how we think this is going to play out, slight bit of whatever narrative they got going on. Then we're going to get into some player props, some of the betting stuff, lines, over unders, and then we're going to finish out with start and sit, which will probably be pretty quick. So, yeah, so the line is Chiefs -3, but I think you mentioned that it started with plus money.
No. It's Chiefs -3. But at one point it's been playing between -2.5 and -3. So it's just been going back and forth, but it's staying in between 3 and 2.5, basically based off of Mahomes.
So on some pick 'em type deal, like who do you have winning this one? Who do you foresee winning it?
Um, Pick them just as in like, okay, whoever's going to win the
Yeah,
game,
like
or
if
this
you're
team's
going
going
to
to win the
take it,
game.
like if you were going to do the
Uh,
money line, like who do you think is going to win the game? If you were to add it to like a big parlay or something.
I mean, we got a lot of changes on both sides of the ball for both of these teams. So I am interested to see how it's going to play out. I mean, I think you probably might end up giving the benefit of the doubt to the Kansas City Chiefs just because they're the ones playing at home, and they just have that advantage. Also, chemistry between Travis Kelsey and Pat Mahomes unmatched. They got a few weapons, few new added weapons. Even though Hollywood's not going to be able to play, they have Rashid Rice, who's has 1 year on the offense, and then now they've added a speed demon and Xavier Worthy on the outside. So last year, I remember the rave was that Mahomes didn't have any weapons, and his weapons were dropping the ball. He had Cordarius Tony acting real crazy, um,
You got him out the paint.
dropping easy passes. So I think that the wide receiver weapons that he'll have tomorrow will actually be focused, and they'll be locked in. So they don't want to be the reason that Mahomes loses another season opener. But yeah, I probably would give it to Kansas City based on them being home, but it's going to be a tough out playing against Baltimore and them knowing that they have everything that they want to do and everything that they want to accomplish this year kind of goes through Kansas City.
Going back to that season opener last year, remember they're going through contract disputes with Chris Jones, so that definitely didn't help. Not
Yeah.
having a top 3 D tackle in the league, big part of these recent Super Bowl runs. So that's squared away. Not a lot of offseason drama over there. Sitting back, cool. And for me, I got the Ravens in this one. I wouldn't mind putting some money on that upset, even though I think it'd probably be only like plus, I don't know, 150 or whatever. But I think they're gonna come out, they're gonna be hungry. I know Lamar said in that presser that he doesn't really categorize things as revenge games or this is the team that passed up on me, that that corny kind of got played out after Stephon Diggs did it. But like,
Yeah. I
am I
mean,
thinking about the right situation?
I just
Oh no,
I
no, or
think
am I thinking whatever? Either way, Lamar, he treats every game like he
like a
wants to
must
get
win. He
after it.
wants to
Yeah,
win. He wants
it's
to
a
win.
must win.
Whoever, basically what he said was, whoever's in front of me, I'm trying to beat them. And this week, we're going against the Chiefs. So yeah, it's a must win. Yes, I want to win. He wasn't trying to be rude, disrespectful, or bashful. Obviously, he was asked a question and he answered it. But yeah, I mean the Ravens, they they know they know what's at stake when it comes to playing the Chiefs, and they understand, even though they don't listen to the narratives necessarily and all that, they're focused on the game week and focused on preparation. It still kind of gets to them, especially when you've lost to this team. You lost to them last year in the playoffs, and a lot of people feel as if the acquisition of a certain running back is even because of that loss in the playoffs. So I definitely think that it's in the back of their mind just as competitors, but they do understand that like they're not going to give Kansas City no bulletin board material, you know.
Nah, I feel that. Um, when it comes to Derrick Henry, obviously the Ravens, their running game is really, the best part of what they do. Main reason why, they didn't win that conference championship game is they didn't run the ball. They didn't do what was working best for them. But I mean, either way, the Chiefs kind of felt in control of the game regardless. Yes, running the ball, they might have won if they ran it, a lot more times. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs, even though the score was close and the Ravens were kind of treating it, it almost felt further than it was based off the play calling. And the game never really felt like out of reach for some reason. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's just based off the play calling from the Ravens or the playoff pedigree of the Chiefs. But what we do know is when Derrick Henry, when he plays the Chiefs, he goes crazy. The last four times with Tennessee, put up 115, 2 touchdowns. Before that, 86, 0. But before that, 188, 2 touchdowns. Before that, 58, 2 touchdowns. So obviously, his tenure with the Titans up until recently, they had a great offensive line. And, on the flip side with the Ravens, they definitely lost some major pieces there. But, I mean, what's your thoughts on, the Ravens O-line and then, maybe some of the other pieces they lost, like, Patrick Queen and, some of those depth pieces?
I mean, definitely, it sucks to lose depth pieces, but I think as long as they have Roquan Smith in the middle, they're still above average at the linebacker position in the NFL. And they'll probably, I'm not saying that he's going to be able to go step for step with Travis Kelsey, but he'll for sure be able to take care of his own across the middle, especially anything going across the middle, any passes over the top. I think he'll be able to take care of that. They do still have a solid DB core, and it's Baltimore. So they just have a great grassroots organization. I mean, I think that 74% of their players are homegrown. So, they take opportunities when it approaches them, like when they did trade for not Patrick Queen, for Roquan Smith.
Roquan Smith.
But yeah, but for the most part, I just think that that defense, the scheme that they'll be running, and just organization top down from bottom, they're just ready. They'll be prepared.
They
When
have
it
a
comes
great
to
safety. Go ahead.
yeah, when it comes to Lamar and the offense, like he said, you know what it looked like when you watched that football, or what it at least felt like. It felt like one team was playing a playoff game, and they're like, okay, we know how to approach this like a playoff game. And it just felt like the Ravens were approaching it like it was a regular game, or it was like, oh, this is a big game. This is a huge game. And I think the reason you felt as if, the Chiefs were always in control is because it just kind of felt like it looked like that, and it felt like that day. They didn't have any blunders. If it was third down, they just got the first down. They weren't doing anything flashy. They weren't doing anything that was going to, like, impress anybody, or be on ESPN. They just wanted to lock in and win the playoff game. And I think that itself kind of separates the Chiefs from everyone else when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's strange because obviously Harbaugh back in the day, he won that Super Bowl with Flacco. It felt like it felt like Andy Reid, best coach in the league, going against an inexperienced coach or a coach that's just hasn't been there. They weren't very buttoned up. They were practicing like team celebrations leading up to the game. So a little bit unserious, a little bit, just cold feet. They had that shit run down their leg. It was weird. And even though Lamar said what he said, I think they're really going to come out playing fiery. And that's why I have the Ravens personally. Now, when it comes to their corner group, besides Marlon Humphrey, who do you like there? Because I mean, they have probably like a top 3 safety duo with Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton. But
Mm-hmm.
who else do you like there with
I
the
mean,
corners?
I think Marlon Humphreys is their the corner that separates them for the rest of the league. He's a 6'2", 200-pound DB that can slide inside, play in a slot, or play both outside, both left or right outside. So I really think that he's definitely the player, the blue chip cornerback that makes that defense flourish. And then Kyle Hamilton, what they do with him, having him being able to play nickel, having him being able to roam around and do whatever he needs to do or however he feels. I think that that's what separates the DB group as a whole. And then, like I was speaking about with Roquan Smith, he kind of mans the middle of the defense. So between those 3 players right there, I think that's what is what makes their defensive group special.
Yeah, and speaking of defense and speaking of Roquan and that linebacker unit, obviously they lost Mike McDonald, boy genius, over to Seattle. It's hard to keep an elite up and coming coordinator. So, it happens. It happened before with when they had not Greg Roman. Who they had before the DC that they lost? I don't know, but
Wink,
they're good at I mean the defense, even when they lose
wasn't it
DCs.
Wink?
Oh yeah. It was Wink. That's a touchy subject. I mean, Wink is nice though. Wink was nice. He was good
Right,
for him.
and that's the thing about the Ravens. Like they if their coach, if their coordinator has some type of scheme that they're trying to run, they get the guys that fit it, or they always find a way to get guys that fit their scheme perfectly. And I think that's why they weren't. I'm sure they would have loved to keep Mike McDonald, but I'm pretty sure they had a plan in place for if he were to become a head coach or move on to a different gig, which is why they had a homegrown defensive coordinator become the next defensive coordinator. He was a position coach, and I think he was probably there for all of 2 or 3 years. Now he's the one who gets promoted to defensive coordinator, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to implement a different style of defense that they don't have the proper fit for. They don't have the right players for. So I think you're going to see a lot of the same when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens defense, because that's just kind of the culture that they have.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a well-ran franchise, and
Right.
well-run franchises, they don't have those dips in, when a coach, not a coach, well, whether it's a coach or a coordinator getting poached, they always have a good contingency plan. And Zach
Mm.
Orr, their current DC now, he was the inside linebacker coach for 2 years. Before that, he was an outside linebacker coach for the Jags for a year. And then the 3 years before that, he was still with the Ravens as a defensive analyst. And then even as a player himself, he played back in the mid 2010s as an undrafted free agent. And he was a linebacker himself. So literally homegrown. You know what I mean?
Right.
Literally homegrown.
He learned the game as the Raven. He learned football, as a Baltimore Raven. And he took an analyst job, and he went off. Probably tried to help out the Jaguars, and whatever happened, there was some coaches changes there. Ends up calling his guys back here. They give him a gig, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Now when it comes to the Chiefs, what do you think their how the receivers are going to do. Obviously, Rashee Rice, wide receiver one. Who you think is next in the pecking order? Is it McCole Hardman because he has some familiarity there? Do you think Xavier Worthy? And this is obviously not including Travis Kelce, even though he's an offensive weapon in his own right. But in terms of the receivers themselves, how do you feel that pecking order is going to go with that core?
I mean, obviously, I think Rashee Rice is going to be the alpha in that wide receiver core. I mean, I think that he's going to be peppered with targets. I think it's going to be days where it's oh, I need a first down. I'm going to Kelsey or I'm going to Rashee Rice. And then obviously when you have a speed demon like James Worthy, I think that he's just there for the kill shot, for the off of play action.
Like I said,
Uh,
James Worthy.
the,
I didn't know you watched him play back in the day, dog.
Oh yeah, my bad. Xavier Worthy, my fault. But yeah, I think that they're going to take a lot of deep shots with him. I think that he's the guy that keeps the defense all honest. So when you have to worry about a guy that runs a 4-2, 4-3 on the regular, you kind of it does do things to your defense. You do have to make sure you have safety help over top. You kind of don't want to leave your DBs on an island, and if you use your number one corner on him, then you're kind of, you got Rashee Rice over here that's able to run all the intermediate routes and get open underneath. So I definitely think, right now with Hollywood Brown being out, I think that Xavier Worthy is probably going to be second or third on the team in targets. I think we're going to get to the classic Justin Watson targets. But I do believe that this is going to be a Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice day. And I think that, you know, due to the fact that we thought that Rashee Rice was going to be suspended or possibly would miss some games due to what he had going on this summer, I think that he presented a lot of value in fantasy. Uh, and I think that he's going to be one of those guys that ends up, especially in a PPR league, that's always in double digits between having five receptions for 56 yards, always at 10 points, but maybe giving you days where he's between 15 and 20, So I like Xavier Worthy. Obviously, I like Pat Mahomes. Like, I think that he can throw the ball to anybody and they'll be successful. But definitely think that the pecking order right now is Rice, then Worthy, then probably Justin Watson, and a little bit of Miko here and there, but I don't think we'll see much of him.
Yeah. So I know the over under is 46.5. Do you see this being a high scoring game? I mean, with the Chiefs, it could always be a high scoring game. They lost L'Jarius Sneed, but they tend to do that with the corners, kind of don't pay the guys, draft somebody. Did the same with Chardavius Ward, who's on the Niners now. But they still have Trent McDuffie. They still have who else they got?
Dax
Jalen
Hill.
Watson's not bad.
Yeah, I think that
And
Dax
then they
Hill's on
still
that
have
team.
Justin Reed there in the back. I mean,
Yeah.
overall, they're just a well-coached team. Their
Right.
defense really helped them win that last ring. So, I don't think they're going to be missing much with Snead being gone, to be honest.
Right.
Obviously, they would love to have him at a better price and would have kept him and whatnot. But, I
I
mean, he
mean,
got
he did
paid
his
by the
job.
Titans.
He
Yeah.
Yeah, he did his job. They got a Super Bowl. He got paid. It is what it is. The odd thing with the Chiefs though is for some reason none of their coordinators ever get plucked. You know, and it's like Ravens had a great season last year, and Mike McDonald's he deserves everything that he got. He deserves to be in Seattle as a head coach. But it's like, why does the defensive coordinator for the Ravens for the Chiefs just get to be there for like the past 5 years and
Why
nobody wants to
why
give him?
why are you saying he just gets to be there? Like he
Well, I
doesn't
mean,
have
it's
the
just
option.
does he? That's what I'm kind of trying to get at that because I think that that's interesting, bro. It's like I mean, if you can keep your whole entire coaching staff intact, then that's probably big. Think about it. Philadelphia, they went on a run and they lost both of their coordinators. And we don't even like Philadelphia, but we can respect the offense and defensive coordinators that they had, and they went over to run their own organizations, and they're damn good coaches. It's like, yo, Nick Sirianni wishes he had those guys, and I just think that, like, the Chiefs are lucky because they keep a lot of the glue. They keep a lot of the glue intact, and that's what brings wins. That's when, okay, the defense knows, all right, Pat's tripping, not tripping, but Pat's throwing an interception. It's no biggie. We're gonna get the ball back for him. We're gonna hold the team to a field goal. They're gonna march down the field. They're gonna score whatever we need to stay in the game. And it's just kind of like they got great chemistry. And when you get to keep everybody intact, I think that's how that's created. I think that's why they're the potential first dynasty, real dynasty that we'll be able to witness.
Chill with that. The first dynasty to three-peat, but be able to witness.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've never seen a three-peat. This is something.
I mean, the Patriots had multiple, like, they had like a mini dynasties, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm not taking nothing away from Tom, and I don't want anybody to think that that's what I'm doing, but I think that there's a lot of stuff that goes into what the Chiefs do, and it's not Pat Mahomes just drops back and throws for 380 yards and 4 touchdowns every day. It's like, yeah, I can do that, but like, that's not the only way that I need to beat you, and I don't mind beating you throwing for 180 yards and handing the ball off 28 times,
Yeah, handing the ball off to Mr. Angry Runs himself, Checo. That's going to be major. But back to Spags. So the thing with him, and it's like twofold, because this goes towards their OC too. Even though Andy Reid, he's a mastermind with calling plays. Spags has been coaching for 20 plus years. So I think the thing with him, because he used to
be a coordinator.
Huh?
I think he just loves being a coordinator.
Nah, it's not even that. Like, so all right, so we had him as a defensive coordinator back in the day, and then he was our interim head coach back in 2017. But I got the rest of his stuff pulled up before.
We're talking about Steve Spagnuolo, by the way.
Yeah, Steve Spagnuolo. I know I called him Spags. But Steve Spagnuolo. Before he was a DC for us, he was a Ravens secondary coach in 2014. And before that, he was a defensive assistant for him in 2013. And then he was the defensive coordinator for the Saints before that. Then he was the head coach for the Rams for 2 years before that. He was a defensive coordinator back in 2007, 2008. So obviously he has that ring with us. Then before that, he was a DB coach, then a linebacker coach for the Eagles, and he was with the Eagles for about 7 years. And then before that, is that a European team? Yeah, he was with the Frankfurt Galaxy in 98 as a DC and linebackers coach. Before that, he was a DB coach for Bowling Green in 96. And he was a DB coach for Rutgers in 94. And I can keep going and going. He was I'm gonna go way back to 92. He was the defensive line coach and specials team coach for the Barcelona Dragons. And it goes all the way back to the 80s with him. And I think he's just like, yo, I've been in so many different organizations, and this goes for the OC too, where it's like with the Eagles, maybe, Gannon and Steichen was like, all right, this was a great run, but I don't think we could do it. With the Chiefs. They could do it any year. So it's like, you're going to leave that, and you could be a coach somewhere else, but is that just what's the upside? Ego, more money.
Again, we're talking about two coaches. We're talking about two coaches on the Eagles that are also probably like 20, 30 years younger than Spags. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is their opportunity is, yo, we just made it to the Super Bowl. We get to strike while the pot is hot, whereas Spags doesn't have that feeling because you just gave the rundown. It's like, bro, this is a good structured program we building over here, and I'm good. and maybe he doesn't want to be a head coach anymore. Maybe he really loves the guys, or maybe he and Andy Reid, they just got to understand it. Like, yo, we might be able to get 2 more out of this, and we can both call it quits.
And here's and here's the thing: some coordinators are just best as a coordinator. Look at Josh McDaniels. Seems like he's a great offensive coordinator, but as a head coach, deplorable. He's never getting another shot in the NFL for sure. And then you have somebody like, I just lost him, where he was like he's a good quarter. Bill O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
Bill O'Brien, great offensive mind, wasn't really a good head coach in the NFL. He actually is coaching over there at Boston College. Shout out to them upsetting FSU.
And you got to give it to him. His team was more
college and the
disciplined on Monday.
NFL is it's a different demon. And I'm looking here. Spags' head coaching record is 11-41. So 20% winning percentage. So he might just be like, look, man, I'm off it. They just got the perfect guy. They didn't. It's not like
that's what I mean. That's right. That's
like you said.
You know what I mean? It's just funny that when you win championships, it's always little stuff like that goes unnoticed. Everybody else's, their guys, they get close to winning the championship and their guys get plucked. The Chiefs are over here actually winning the championship, and like they had to beg to kick Eric Bieniemy out the door. They were like, "Yo, does anybody want to take this guy? Nobody wants to take him." So
it's like, nah, Andy, we know you're the mastermind, my boy. We good off, yo.
And it's like, all right, cool. Well, then we'll keep him. We'll keep him, and we'll keep winning. So yeah, it's just something that I've always noticed. And again, it's no disrespect to the other coordinators around the league. It's just, when it comes to the Chiefs, man, they definitely move. They definitely move at a different pace than the rest of the league.
Facts. And we're going to get off Spags, I promise. But it's just funny. Obviously, I'm a Giants fan, but after we won the Super Bowl, he went to coach the Rams for 2 years. That didn't go well, and that was his last head coaching opportunity. So I think the Chiefs are going to do whatever they can to keep him there rolling. They're over there with Brett Veach, and everybody is doing real good with the drafting. So they're going to keep drafting the right pieces to fit the defense for situations like Snead, situations like Chardavius Ward. Keep what they can, but keep refreshing. Never really paying a running back. They drafted Clyde in the first round last time, and he's no longer the starter. Got Pacheco out of the 5th or 6th, so they're not paying him. And yeah, but it should be interesting. It's going to be. So, do you think it's going to be a high or low scoring game?
I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think. For sure, especially based off of the way that the game was played last year. I think that the Ravens, and I mean, this is why they brought Derrick Henry in. They want to control the pace. They want to control the tempo. I don't think the Chiefs are in a hurry, So I think that this is the first week back for everybody. So it's not going to be the most. I don't know if everyone's going to be the sharpest. And I think it's going to take some time for them to get revving up. But I think that Derrick Henry, you showed the numbers. You shows how he didn't average anything under 86 yards against the Chiefs when he was playing against the Titans, and he's playing with a running offense that's well equipped to control the pace between him and Lamar, and then using that off of play action to give it to Mark Andrews. They can just kind of slow roll this thing, take their time, have some methodical drives, and depend on their defense and let their defense kind of pull this one out for them. They are built to play a ground and pound game, and I don't think that the Chiefs, on the other hand, I don't think that they're necessarily in a rush to run any type of up-tempo offense, even though they could if they wanted to. I think they're in the same boat where, hey, man, we just taking our time. We respect the people that we're going against. We respect this defense. Let's just take what they give us. Let's be methodical, and let's try to get a score.
And just looking forward, because obviously, they're going to have extra time given that they have this Thursday night game for next week. Chiefs play the Bengals next week, and then the Ravens play the Raiders. So I could easily see the Chiefs losing this one. It's a rematch, but they won the big game. So, it's like a consolation prize for the Ravens. Ravens go in, beat the Raiders. They're 2-0. Chiefs beat the Bengals, who, they won their Super Bowl a couple years ago when they got to the Super Bowl to play the Rams. So maybe the Chiefs give Andy Reid a little bit more time to game plan, whoop on them. The Chiefs are 1-1, 1-1. That's kind of how I predict the first two games going for these boys. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how Derrick Henry operates in this offense. And then the biggest thing I'm gonna look out for the Chiefs is I think that Hollywood Brown not being ready is a blessing in disguise. See what you could do with Xavier Worthy and Justin Watson and whoever else they have there besides Mecole Hardman, and see how that offense operates without Hollywood Brown there, because obviously he's had his injury woes. But if they could have him for the rest of the season, it'll be amazing. But let's see how it looks without him. And then obviously he used to play for the Ravens, so who knows him better than they do. So I think it's perfect.
Yeah. And then on the Ravens side of the ball, I guess we should probably talk about their pass catchers. Zay Flowers is probably going to go ahead, and he's probably going to be the wide receiver one over there. The real pass catcher number one is Mark Andrews. And like we said, they'll probably definitely be giving him some targets based off of play action and everything like that, trying to exploit the linebackers over there in Kansas City. But for sure, I would take a look at Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, and if you're really, really looking for a sprinkle, maybe Isaiah Likely,
Yeah, I'm hoping they use Likely a little bit more in some like little two tight end sets, or Mark Andrews has had his injury concerns, so maybe giving him splitting some of the workload there, using the fresher body, because you really want Mark Andrews available for their playoff push coming up. But yeah, besides that, we could get into. Is there any props that you like here?
I mean, like I said, I like the under. I wouldn't play the game because I do think it's going to be very, very close. In regards to the props, the only props, if I was probably taking some props, I'm sticking with Derrick Henry, especially after what you just told me, just going back and seeing what he was doing to these boys with the Titans. Like, running back's a running back, and I know I give him a lot of hell, but once the game's being played, the checks don't matter anymore. So he gonna be on the field tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, he gonna be on the field tomorrow. So, and I definitely think they're gonna make it a point to give him the ball and could try to use him to control. So I would go over on his rushing attempts, and I would also probably go over on his rushing yards. And as for Isaiah Pacheco, I would probably do the same thing, going over his rushing attempts too. I know they just signed Samaje Perine, but I think that was more so of an insurance, just in case something happens with Isaiah Pacheco, just in case, just to have a backup running back. Because at this point, they kind of didn't, especially with Clyde Edwards having to be put on the pup. So I think this is definitely going to be a game where the running backs are getting a lot of volume, and due to the fact that they're getting a lot of volume, I think that they'll be able to go over on their yard props, and maybe even check and see what the anytime touchdowns are for one or the other. I just think that this is going to be one of the games where they try to bully each other. I mean, I think this is going to be a hard hitting defensive game. Like, I think that's what this is going to be, a hard hitting defensive matchup with Kelsey probably getting off with, let's see what they got Kelsey at. I mean, they got Kelsey
I
at
would like them Kelsey yards.
58 yards. I mean, I think, see, that's the thing now. That's how they get us, because I definitely can see Kelsey getting around 50 yards, but I don't know if he gets to 60,
I'm a go with it just because the lack of Hollywood Brown. And yeah, I would take that over. I'd also take what do I have? I was really liking. Uh, all right, it's up to you if you want to take this, but Derrick Henry's receiving yards 7.5. That might be real smooth, might be real easy. Who's the backup there? Justice Hill still?
Yeah, and I mean, again, it with the props like that, I don't disagree with you because it's like, listen, it just takes one play for him to get this. It takes one screen. They don't have one screen in the playbook for Derrick Henry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
So,
that's a sneaky one. I
yeah.
like
How do you feel about this Xavier Likely?
Isaiah Likely.
Yeah, for 17, getting over 60 and a half. And then he also has over 1.5 receptions. I think it kind of goes with my same logic with the over 7.5 receiving yards. It only takes two. He can probably get the reception yards in one play. You know,
Would you take that or just him having 2 receptions?
I'd probably take him having two receptions. I definitely think he can get to two receptions.
Yeah, that's a sneaky good one with Likely. Me
Yeah,
personally, when it comes to the Chiefs, it's hard for me not to take the over because it could so easily go over. And they lost Patrick Queen. Um, in the middle, they still have Justin
Rokon.
Matabuke and
Yeah.
and but who's their D tackle? Because I know he's like an end.
Wait, well, Justin Matabuke. They have a cute, big, chubby guy. I mean, like 340. I can't
Hold on,
think of
I'm
his
pulling
name
him up.
though. And then
Oh,
they
right,
lost.
right, 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 right. Michael Pierce.
Yeah, Michael
Michael
Pierce,
Pierce. So I
run
wouldn't
stuffer.
mind. You think Pacheco's going to have a good game? What's his?
I mean,
I think I think he could have. I see him getting about I can see him getting about 60, 70 in a touchdown. I don't think he goes for 100 with that
right, but
defensive front. And then
now that's a good game though. That's him going over his props and getting a score. So that would be considered a good game. Now, me personally, I think it's possible just because I think he's going to give. I just think that he's going to be a volume guy. I don't think that they're going to use a running back by committee. I don't think that we're going to see, especially not in this game. I think eventually Samaje might have a little bit of a role, especially during the middle of the season, because we don't want to wear down Isaiah Pacheco. But I think tomorrow, he would just. I think I can see him getting some volume anywhere between 17 to 20 touches, and based off of that, I could see him getting over his number. If you want, I can. Let's see what his. So I mean, he's at 60. He's at 61 rushing yards, and
see what
I could.
I said 60, 70.
Right.
Uh,
So, and I mean, they're looking at you, and he's projected for 59. so, so the books are sharp with this one right here, and then I think that's basically saying like, yeah, I mean, we know he's going to get some volume. We don't know if he's going to be breaking on these guys though.
right, right. I would. Hmm. In terms of anytime touchdowns, I like Pacheco because ever since that Pat Mahomes injury, they don't sneak him. They don't really. He runs when he needs to, and when he
Mm-hmm.
does need to run, it's kind of out of nowhere, and he doesn't get touched. But in terms of the goal line work, that's all Pacheco. So I don't know. I think Pacheco's going to have a good game. I think they're going to have a good. I think he's going to have a good game. I think Derrick Henry, I would take the over on his yards as well, just because the Ravens are always a good rushing team. Um, yeah. Besides that, I wouldn't touch Zay Flowers props. Mark Andrews kind of sketches me out. I want to see how much they use Likely, and if I was going to go with a tight end, I'm going to go with the guy that has such a low total. Probably just dip into the Likely bag a little bit, and then
Right.
Justin Watson. What are his receptions?
Justin Watson. Let's see what we got for Justin Watson. over 2, 1.5.
or just 2. So I would smack that as well. I would smack that as well, just because he has more time in that offense. Obviously, Xavier Worthy's a rookie. Um, the thing with Worthy, obviously, he broke the combine 40 record. All that stuff is cute. He was looking good in training camp and preseason, but you know, I don't know. He's real light, man. He's real light. So let's see how he does. I'd probably bank on putting some. I'm probably wouldn't touch any of his props. I want to see him in the offense, and in the regular season, see how that goes. I'd probably aim at Justin Watson, Rashee Rice. I'd take the over on whatever his receptions are and whatever his yards are.
Yeah, I mean it's priced at a fair part. It's at fit 5.5 receptions. They got him at 5, and I want to say it's at like 62 yards. So and it's projected at 50. So he's projected like 10 yards per catch. And again, I think he's one of those guys by the end of the season. I'm not saying he's on that caliber, but I think if you're in fantasy football or you're on a PPR league, I think you love Rashee Rice because he's always getting you 15 to 17 points, even without scoring a touchdown, because of how much he's going to get peppered with those type of targets. So I mean, I think that obviously right now, till proven otherwise, Travis Kelce is the alpha number one pass catcher on this team. But I think that Rashee Rice could come into a dependable role with Pat Mahomes, and Pat Mahomes has already came out and said that he was proud of the way that Rashee Rice was running some of his routes and the development that he had over the offseason. So if he's gaining trust of the quarterback, we'll see what happens on third down now. This can all go to shit if he's dropping the ball on third down. Okay. So if he starts dropping passes, I'm sorry I told you this. But if Rashee Rice can hold up his end of the deal, I think that he's going to be a great player for you this year.
Yeah, they need to start trusting him off the field and get him like a Uber Plus or Uber One membership or Lyft Pink or something. No,
Well, we
no,
won't touch that until the law touches that. We allegedly.
yeah. All right. So last thing we're going to do, we're going to get into the start sits. Um, with a game like this, it's the season opener, so it's going to be your usual suspects. On the Chiefs side, the auto, you just set it and forget it. Pat Mahomes, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, Pacheco. And then if you need something for a flex option, you could do Worthy. Justin Watson wouldn't hurt, even though I would do that in more like a 14-person league. Like if you're really desperate, you should early in the season have a better flex than a Justin Watson. But it wouldn't hurt without Hollywood Brown here. But anyone else? What are you
Yeah, I
thinking?
mean, I wanted to give a because I this is pretty cool little premiere article that they had, and I was going to try to see if I could find it because I thought it was pretty dope, but I don't know. I guess I can't find the premiere anymore. Oh, here we go, the primer. Here we go, right here. Let's see if we can see what they suggest for the Baltimore Ravens. And these are my guys at Fantasy Pros. But again, I like what they did here. They kind of give you a breakdown, and so for the must starts, it's the usual suspects. Like we're going to play Lamar. You drafted him high. You're going to play Pat Mahomes. You got him in the third or fourth round. You got all of these guys you selected within the third, like the first 4 rounds, and
I
then
think Pacheco should definitely be up there. That's the only one I would
well,
add to it. I wouldn't add Zace Flowers to that must start, but
I'm no,
you're
no, no, no,
drafting
no. I
projected.
think
You're
I
drafting
think
Pacheco
he's
in
a
the first
strong
four.
start. I think he's a strong start for sure. Like, I
Uh,
mean, he's not playing him out. Must start, is like like Christian McCaffrey. But like, some because some guys are in 10-team leagues. and they got like they got more than one or two backs that are solid this week. But I agree with you. He definitely is a strong start. Uh, Zay Flowers. I mean, some
But is
guys
he?
might have to
But
start Zay
uh,
Flowers.
is Pacheco? But is Pacheco really in the same tier of whether you start him as Xavier Worthy though? Really, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they need a tier above that. And then Rasheed Rice. That I think Pacheco Rice must start, set it and forget it. Unless you're in a 10-person league, like Austin mentioned, maybe you have a better option. But I guess their mindset is, I'm sure they have the under. I'm guessing they think it's
Right.
going to be like a hard nose, rough them up type game where,
Yeah.
they're not really eating like that. But I think
And I
you should
think
be pretty comfortable starting Rice with no Hollywood there.
I think a lot of people are just excited to see Xavier Worthy, with Patrick Mahomes, man. You know what I mean? I think that that's one of those. Look, I'm putting this in here because I'm just geeked up. I'm just geeked up to see Xavier Worthy run a 4-2 with Pat Mahomes. Like, we haven't seen this since Tyreek Hill. So I think this is just one of those things where, we'll see what these guys have to offer, especially like with Xavier Worthy. Like I said, with just based off of his speed alone, you're going to have to respect him and have something over top. You're not going to just let your DBs be on an island when you're going against a guy of that caliber, and especially someone with Mahomes who can create within the pocket and then just flick his wrist and it goes 45 yards. It's just, I think that's what it is. It's just a boom or bust play. But no, I agree. Maybe Xavier Worthy for week one should probably be like a flex spot. But I do like Zay
He would be
Flowers, and I
he would
like
be he'd be straight on my bench, to be honest. Unless you need it that
just for
bad.
week one.
Yeah,
Right.
just for week 1. Let me see what he
Yeah.
got. Let me see how they use him. And the fact you just reminded me, obviously, like, and it feels so long since he was on the Chiefs, but because of that speed factor, the speed demon thing, obviously that would look good really in Andy Reid. Yeah, I might have to have him to flex. That reminder of just Tyreek Hill.
Right. And that one play, because the thing with Xavier Worthy is he can have one catch for 76 yards and it can go for a touchdown. And you're good for the week.
Nah, for real, for real.
So, but yeah, I think for the most part, it's unquestioned that the no brainer must starts are these guys. And again, he's not disrespecting Isaiah Pacheco or, Rasheed Rice. He's saying they're wide receiver twos or threes on your team, which that's who they probably are. And again, if Isaiah Pacheco, if you were drafted in the back end of round two, you probably do have Isaiah Pacheco as your running back one, maybe running back two if you got lucky and did a double dip. So, it's useful information. And
Yeah,
again,
and that's really my point. I feel like unless you're in a 10-person league, like you're going to start him on the Ravens side. It's just Lamar, Derrick, Mark Andrews. If you got Mark Andrews, you definitely drafted him early. I think I just got done to draft him. I think he got drafted in like the 3rd round, which is crazy.
right, right. But I
So
mean, that's because he's supposed to be a second pass catcher for you.
no,
He's supposed
I
to.
get that, but he was like the first tight end off the board. I was like,
Oh,
damn,
okay.
for real? Yeah, yeah. I was like, damn,
Yeah,
for real? Uh,
yeah.
Laporta magic. Besides that, is there anybody that you would add from flex on the Ravens? Any Ravens players? Would you I think the flex would
I
be
mean,
like Zay Flowers, unless like that's your wide receiver too. That's your
yeah.
wide
I
receiver
mean,
too. I don't know how I'd feel about that on my
I
team.
think that Rashad Bateman maybe could come out and show us something. But again, there's nobody on the Ravens that I would be itching to start outside of the runners and the tight end. Zay Flowers is going to have a good season. I just think that with Trent McDuffie like going against him and that defense, I think that this could be a tight game where you don't want to risk playing him. But yeah, I mean, for the most
I mean,
part,
he did do his thing. If it wasn't for fumbling at the goal line, he would have had a crazy game. That was definitely like a momentum shift, even though the momentum was kind of one way with the Chiefs. That was like the anti-momentum shift where it definitely might have flipped on its head if it wasn't
well,
for
he
that
is,
fumble, which
yeah,
I think
right,
that
because
was
he
Snead
is the
that
wide
caused that
receiver
fumble.
one. You know,
Yeah, I mean, how many yards do you have in that game? That's what we really should look at. Ravens, Chiefs. We should have brought that up. That stat line. Okay, Pat Mahomes. So last time they played each other, Pacheco, 68 yards and a touchdown. I'm telling you, smack that over on Pacheco, anytime touchdown. Him, Travis Kelce had 11 receptions for 116 and a touchdown. Call him playoff Travis. And then Zay Flowers, 5 catches for 115 and a touchdown last time. And then in terms of Lamar's, we're doing start sit now, but Lamar had 272 and a touchdown and a pick, and he ran the ball for 8 carries of 54 yards, and he was their leading rusher. So that can't be a thing again. So I might take the under on Lamar's yards, to be honest, rushing yards. I mean, but because when I saw them earlier, I think it was like 50, 55.
yeah, for Lamar's rushing
I
yards.
would probably take the under on that.
Yeah. I mean, again, like this isn't they don't have Lamar, they don't mind Lamar using his feet, but bro, we got Derrick Henry now. You know, like if we're just gonna get the ball to him. So I'm excited to see him tomorrow, though. You know, and like I said, all that I said about all that was said about the running backs or whatever. He's already on the team. He's already paid, and he's Derrick Henry. So we get to see Derrick Henry, and we get to see Lamar Jackson put on a show. And you know, this could be something. It could be something. It could be game changing. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Nah, for sure. But I guess we could wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Season is here, man. I'm so hyped for tomorrow. Got
Right.
Pacheco in the league I just drafted. I got Pacheco and Rashee Rice. My receivers are looking dirty, so Rashee Rice is actually probably going to be on the bench for me.
Hey, then
Ironically,
he's
because
a trick.
I was just gassing them, but like I just went crazy with the receivers.
Then he's a trading piece, or you got an asset just in case
I don't
somebody
want to
gets
hear
hurt.
that from you, boy. You don't be trading like that,
I
telling
don't
me it's a
trade.
trading piece.
Nah, I don't trade.
You trying to tell me it's a trading piece.
I like. Oh, we will talk about it when we get off this. But yeah, nah, I'm not a trader, and I know how you boys try to trade. Y'all try to trade like I'm distressed or something. Like I don't know what the heck is going on. So it's just like I mean the trades almost be looking disrespectful when I look at the phone. So nah, I
The
don't trade
trade's
with y'all
always
boys.
disrespectful. Got that shit on red. But yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe. We'll be back here for Thursday night recap and also looking at the lines for the rest of the slate here on Sunday. Oh, don't the Packers and the
They play on Friday.
Eagles play in Brazil on Friday? Should have talked about that, but I guess we could talk about that next time. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe. This was another Matter of Fact episode. Catch you on the next one.
All right.